Good morning, everyone. Thanks. I recognize that everybody wants to get out of here as quickly as possible, as is the case with every Friday assembly. So I promise you all this. I will do my very best to keep this speech under an hour. And if I fail, pay me no mind. If you've heard me speak before, you know I tend to be loquacious. So to take a page from Polonius in Hamlet, since brevity is the soul of wit, let me be brief. 2.8 billion years from now, all life on Earth will be extinct. 7.5 billion years from now, the sun will probably engulf the Earth. One day, incomprehensibly far from right now, the universe will end, and there's nothing that you can do about it. This is my senior sage. I know that this all sounds not great, but I do have some good news for you. Humanity likely won't survive long enough to see any of it happen. In fact, the longest that scientists generally agree humans could be around is calculated to be only 0.0001% of the time until the sun swallows the planet like an especially tasty Skittle. So, why am I telling you all this? To give you an existential crisis at 10 in the morning? Well, no, not only to do that. But this speech did stem from one of those, an existential crisis, I mean. Let me take you back in time to 2020, a year I'm sure most time travelers will be avoiding. Specifically, let me take you to July 27th, even more specifically, 3:05 a.m. Now, what am I doing awake at 3:05 a.m.? Normally, I would be up playing video games or perhaps watching Netflix, but on this occasion, I was reading a Wikipedia article called List of Dates Predicted for Apocalyptic Events. You know, normal stuff. Look, it was 2020, that was just the vibe. According to my Notes app, somewhere within the middle of my entirely avoidable panic attack over the end of the world, in some brief moment of clarity, I wrote the following, which is the title of this senior sage. One day, the universe will be gone, and there's nothing we can do about it. Since then, it's become a mantra of sorts, something to remind myself of. You know, right up there with those classic motivational phrases, you can do it, believe in yourself, the universe is going to end and you're powerless to stop it. So it's kind of a strange mantra. It was 2020, that was just the vibe. Now, back to the present. Why am I telling you this? Because this is a senior sage, and I want to share with you the most important lessons I learned in high school, lessons that a stupid little saying about the end of the universe taught me. Lesson 1, don't worry about the things you can't change. My little saying has two parts. Taken literally, both are just facts. The universe will end eventually. Fact. You can do jack about it. Also fact. Metaphorically, they're a little more helpful. Part 1, things happen sometimes. That isn't to say that everything will always happen all the time, just that some things do happen sometimes. That sounds immensely obvious and stupid, as I'm sure many of you have noticed, but trust me, it's helpful to know and to keep in mind. You bombed your math test? Nobody laughed at your joke in bio class, something that happens to me pretty much every day. They got your order wrong at Chick-fil-A. They probably forgot the sauce. Bummer, but not unpredictable and not the end of the world. When you realize that things just happen sometimes, once you fully accept that sometimes things just go wrong, you learn that you don't have to let it affect you anymore. You can move on more quickly and focus on the positive things that happen instead. That brings us to part 2. Regarding the things that sometimes happen, more often than not, there's nothing you could have done to prevent it, there's nothing you can do to alter it in the moment, and now that it's happened, there's nothing you can do to change how it went. The important part of this is to learn that fundamentally, that's a good thing. Once you realize that some things are literally impossible to change, you learn to stop trying to change them. This doesn't mean you should walk in on 2 hours of sleep and half a Red Bull for your next math test. But if you prepared how you wanted to, and you did your best, and you still got a bad grade, even if it's an actual bad grade and not an SSA bad grade, which is like, what, an A-? It's okay. And not just because you can get the grade back up or because you'll still have an A in the class. Forget about that. That's missing the point of this. This isn't don't sweat the small stuff. This is even if it's big stuff, it's out of your hands now. And since it's out of your hands, it can be out of your mind too. This was the first thing I learned. To reiterate lesson 1, things happen sometimes. You can't do anything about it, and that's okay. Lesson 2, don't worry about the things you can change. Now, I know what you may be thinking. I just said that you shouldn't worry about things you can't change, but you can change your grade on a math test. No. First of all, unless your name is Amy Yam, no, you cannot. Once Miss Boyer slaps that 3D dinosaur sticker on your test, it's over for you, buddy. And lesson 1 tells us that that's okay. So what about the things you actually, really, truly can determine? Do you go to that party this weekend or work on your college applications? Do you spend your free period doing your math homework or writing your college supplements? Do you sleep or do you refresh your college admissions portal every 5 minutes? Can you tell that I've been stressed about college this year? In all of these circumstances, it is ultimately your choice, your decision that will dictate how things go. Not necessarily how they'll turn out in the end, but how your process goes. Most people agree that it's silly to stress over the things you can't change. I've learned that it's equally silly to stress over the things you can. Just like lesson 1, we can derive this from our formula, my tried and true saying. Part 1, baby. The universe is going to end someday. And when it does, is your choice really going to matter? No. Especially because you won't be here, and neither will anybody else in this room, or anybody else that you know, or could ever know, or any life at all, actually, or the planet. You get what I'm saying. We worry about things because of the impacts that they have on our lives. I get that. I could probably win the silver medal in worrying about things. Not the gold, since that would go to my mom. My point is that you shouldn't be spending more time worrying about something or trying to decide what to do than you actually spend doing the thing. All that time you're spending stressing and feeling bad and deliberating could be time you spend doing something, literally anything, more enjoyable or more productive. That's lesson 2. Even when the things that happen are in your control, you don't have to worry about controlling them. Lesson 3, you have power. Continuing that earlier point, the one about none of this ultimately mattering in the end, it's too easy to think that that makes you powerless. Death comes for us all, the universe is going to end, none of this matters, therefore, my life has no meaning. No. Just pretend that it's firing. Bad. Don't think like that. It is precisely the finite nature of this that gives you power. You are living right now. You have agency. You can make your own decisions. You know who can't make your decisions for you? Everybody else on the planet. Autonomy over yourself is a power that only you have. Furthermore, because this is all going to be over eventually, you have to use that power while you can. If you had ice cream in front of you on a hot summer day, perhaps on an ice cream social out on the quad, you know it's going to melt pretty soon. That's inevitable. Does that mean you should go, oh, well, this ice cream's going to melt pretty soon. Guess I shouldn't eat it? No. It means you should eat the freaking ice cream before it melts. Everyone recognizes that that's how it is. When you have something inevitably temporary, you make the most of it while you can. In your life, even if it doesn't quite feel like it, you have power. You are lucky enough to be living right now, and nearly everyone in this room is living better than 99% of people on the planet throughout history. So make the most of that and live, damn it. Lesson 4, speaking of living, live your life the way you want to. As discussed, you hold power in your life. As also discussed, you're not going to be able to do things forever. So while you still can, do the things that you want to do. Dye your hair a funky color. Watch the cartoon that isn't meant for you. If drawing makes you happy, do it. If music makes you happy, do it. If poetry makes you happy, do it. No matter how bad you are at it. No matter if you let other people hear your music or read your poetry or not, even if it's just for you. If you want to do it, big shocker, do it. Wear that dress to the first day of sophomore year, even if it doesn't really fit you. One day it will. Grow your hair out, even if it'll look a little silly for the next couple months, because next year, it'll look pretty good. Sing at SSA Idol, even if you suck. Try out for the musical, even if you can't dance. Try a new sport, even if you're literally the least athletic person to ever exist. I'm speaking from experience on that one. Most of all, be true to yourself, because you only get one shot at it. And later, when doing things isn't so easy anymore, you're going to wish you did whatever silly things your heart desired. Lesson 5. This is the last one, I promise. In the words of my favorite musician, James Taylor, the secret of life is enjoying the passage of time. I'm probably already running over time here. Didn't I tell you that keeping this thing short would kind of be a challenge? So I guess I'll cut to the chase. We're only here on this planet, alive, for a little while. In the cosmic sense, if the lifespan of the universe, from its birth to its earliest predicted demise, were represented by the width of the quad, which happens to be 418 feet, yes, I measured it, the average lifespan of an American would measure 0.00001 inches. So while you're here, enjoy it. I guess here's the part where I get a little sentimental. It was bound to happen. Do your best to appreciate the fall colors on the trees outside the library, those rare snow days in winter, the real ones, I mean, not the Zoom ones, those beautiful, slightly breezy days out on the quad in spring, and the freedom that you'll have in summer. Enjoy the time you spend on this campus. As freshmen, learning the ropes. As sophomores, doing whatever the hell it is that sophomores do. As juniors, staying up late to put those final finishing touches on the US paper exactly 3 minutes before it's due. As seniors, asking those last-minute questions in the college counseling office, or even doing absolutely nothing in Scott Commons, maybe debating whether there are more wheels or doors in the universe. It's wheels, by the way. In any case, in all of these moments, the beautiful just as the plain, the significant as the mundane, the good as the bad, recognize the passage of time and make it a point to enjoy it as best you can. Above all else, if you're going to take away just one thing that I've said today, I ask you to please remember this. One day, the universe is going to end, and there's nothing you can do about it. Thank you.